Thanks for staying with us, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in his New Year message to Nigerians this morning, said that 2025 will bring many hopes, aspirations, and prospects for better days. According to him, to all citizens, your sacrifices have not been in vain over the past 19 months. I assure you, they will not be in vain even in the months ahead. Now, what are your thoughts? How did the speech this morning make you feel? Do you get any sense of hope? Do you believe in the indices that he had laid out for our growth? Do you connect with the successes that the president had itemized? What are your thoughts on it? You can send us messages on YouTube, on X. Also, you can call us on the numbers on your screen so that we can definitely pick your calls. Let's hear your views. Ladies of YourView, what do you guys think? I mean, the president's speech to me this morning was quite interesting. I mean, I think he mentioned a few things about the CNG. He applauded the governor's participation on the CNG and a few other things. What are your own general thoughts on it? Let me start, Amaka.
Okay, so first, I'm happy that he acknowledged the sacrifices Nigerians have made within this past months. At least that's a great thing. He noticed that the citizens and households we suffered. We all suffered.
How did I know you're going to start on that place?
Yes, but at least I love the fact that before you start saying any other thing you want to do, first of all, acknowledge that people have made sacrifices for you to be here, for your agenda that you want to bring out. That there's a lot of sacrifice that's been made, a lot of suffering has happened. But then in saying that, I'm also happy with the things that he has stated moving forward that they want to do, and to acknowledge that within this December period, the Naira traded against the dollar a bit, that with the refineries now kicking up, that fuel prices have reduced and they'll continue to reduce. So that's great. With them pumping in this 1 billion into the agricultural sector now for polytechnics and universities, at least we hope that within the last quarter of the year, there will be abundance of food. We like that. I also love the fact that with the National Credit Guarantee Company, that should be kicking off from the second quarter of the year, that there will be credit facilities for the citizens. You can't say you want your economy to start producing or manufacturing locally when there's no credit available for companies or people to work with. So that's fantastic. And then I also love how he has also stated that the inflation, they will work on the inflation, reducing from the 34.6% to 15%. Anything is possible.
From
because he's a man with a plan.
To 15%.
Anything is possible.
If we increase production, but how we're going to do it? But I mean, again, these are...
And I'm hoping he's even being conservative. Maybe he's looking at the numbers that you had mentioned, that you had read out earlier, where for economies and those they understand it, and maybe then we'll get to see how that reflects. But as you know, the common Nigerian man is waiting until he reflects it. When I go to buy that tuber of yam in the market, is it expensive? Yes, how much is it? Is it cheaper? Or if it's not cheaper, do I have more money to be able to buy what is out there?
And then I also love the fact that at the end of the day, he's saying that thank you so much for believing in me and give me more time to see my agendas come into play. At least they're pushing for foreign investors to come into the economy, investments, and so let's see.
Okay. I mean, you want to go, Mariam?
Yeah, let me go. So for me, it's a first year message. Like, I've heard these messages from many presidents, from presidents before, which is usually optimistic, thanking you for the sacrifices and hoping for a better year, So, but I wanted to instead highlight something that I felt that is quite important, which is he says he will launch an ambitious national orientation campaign that fosters patriotism and love for our country and inspires citizens to rally together. And I know that just before his administration came into play, the election period, we saw the division, like how far we went with each other, calling out our differences, saying some of the worst things to each other. And I'm happy that this has now become an agenda for our country, where it's important to teach us the importance of being together, that working together it's better for us. It benefits us better than when we're separated or when we're apart. I like that now we would have a message about patriotism. You know, we always say it, what does the flag mean to the Nigerian person on the street? What does the national anthem mean to us? What does it mean to be a Nigeria in another country, knowing you're not just representing yourself and your family, but your country as a whole? So I'm looking forward to seeing what this messaging will be, how far-reaching it will be, and then how eventually it will help us have a different mindset, a more positive mindset, and that we will remember that even though government has a role to play, that we too have a role to play. And sometimes some of the things that we do sabotages our economy, sabotages our national identity, and that, you know, we'll just be more patriotic and much more in love with our country. And
I agree
do well
with
for
you
our country.
a bit. I agree with you a bit. And the reason why, I'll come to you, Nima, for your thoughts in a minute. The reason why I'm a bit reluctant to get excited about this initiative is because we've been through this path before. There was a time, I think, as Dora Kunili was in charge of national orientation. She came up with this great nation thing. There were concerted efforts to get Nigerians to be more patriotic. But for me, I feel like it's not about creating all this messaging that will get Nigerians, but this is how we're going to become patriotic. You see, people would connect with results. When your country is good, right now, Nigerians are globally connecting the fact that Nigerians are doing well abroad. But like the knowledge center of Africa, people see us as this really excelling, like the most proudest black nation in the world. You know, so those good accolades are gradually giving us that kind of sense of pride of who we are, that when you need Nigerian is somewhere, we know Nigerian is there. So these are the things that naturally take its own course. I get what the government wants to do. Even if you initiate it, these things, you can't get somebody to be patriotic. You can't force me to be patriotic if I don't believe in this nation. So it has to be done such that it's a natural thing.
So that's what I feel that he's doing, because we've done it based on feeling or what we're seeing, but now we're going to be more, the way that I interpret this is that we're going to be more intentional about the messaging. It will not just be based on how I feel or how I see this person doing, or how, you know, oh, this person is doing better, or Nigerians are doing well.
Framework.
So it will be that in addition to something that is intentional, messaging that is intentional, conversations that are intentional, movies, videos, you know, all sorts of things that will be more intentional towards fostering patriotism. But
and
I
it
hope it works.
And it cuts across the rebranding that we keep talking about, like, because when that happens and then it starts up the rebranding of Nigeria, whereby even the people in diaspora can now have better things to say, because now the conversation just intertwines and everybody sees that.
Let me hear Nima's thoughts.
Just to add to what you're saying, it's not a 360, it's not a magic wand effect. It's psychology. So an average Nigeria has been hit by, you know, a Nigerian doing something to you. We took a story of Nigerians on Facebook who decided to defraud a woman over time of about 150 million. And we see, whenever these things happen, we see them in our movies. We see the bad police officer in our movies. We have the impression, the wrong impression of Nigerians, because Nigerians present that to other Nigerians. And so to make someone believe in this country is to make someone else stand up with the right values towards another. It's with us, it's not by promoting I am Nigeria, Nigeria loves. It's the way I treat Morayo, the way I treat Mariam, that will give Mariam and Morayo the belief that, you know, a Nigerian is a good person, and then the Nigeria spirit is a good one. Over time, it's possible, but it's not a 360 thing. Everybody has a role to play in it, and we must play it diligently well. Because when I go to the hospital and I'm made to queue for hours, and, you know, a preferential treatment is given to someone else, when my baby is hot, or, you know, all of that, I just go and say Nigeria has happened. Whereas it's Nigerians who are happening to us. We are the ones looking at our brothers and thinking, oh, this one is not as close to me. It's not my tribesman, my kinsman, as much as the other person. And, you know, we allow these things happen. When you take out drugs from the pantry or the pharmacy in a general hospital that is supposed to be free for children and sell it in your pharmacy, that's where the problem starts.
So I agree with you. So
eventually,
the point I was trying to make, which I agree with all of you, yes, the country should give us a framework of patriotism where we know that, okay, these are the things, these are the tenets we've agreed, this is the Nigerian dream, this is what we are about. However, I think more sustainably, what will really make Nigerians be more patriotic is that natural evolution of who we are becoming. Because we are gradually emerging as this people culturally diverse, stronger.
So we are that.
Yes, we are that, but we never acknowledged it.
Yes. No, but we do acknowledge in our private spaces. You know, but we collectively
when we travel abroad,
complain about government. So when we need to hit government, we don't acknowledge that.
Yes.
But we know we are proudly Nigerian. When Lukman Ademola got the CAF recognition, we were proudly Nigerians.
Yeah.
We're proudly Nigerian when we need to be. But you see, this thing about not having belief in Nigeria is about how a Nigerian treats another. And it's the psychology of that Nigerian who gets rewarded by, not treating your fellow Nigerian well, or a foreigner well, that we must change. Over time, the belief will come back to our people, knowing that I am safe and secure with another Nigerian in doing business, in anything that we do. In those days, I remember growing up, I had two strangers who were lost at night, who slept in my house. And they continued to say, in Nigeria, Nigerian people are just warm, because after sleeping that first night, they became family members and stayed their entire university years living with us. So people will have those one-off stories, but we can have it a collective story.
Yeah.
We can be able to
stories
describe
that we tell.
Yeah,
because sometimes we don't tend to tell those stories. You know.
And the amazing thing is, who can drive a narrative better than the youths? So you can see that the government, they are also trying to include the youth with the youth confab.
Yeah, I saw that. So again,
Okay.
I'm being very careful. As nice as it sounds, we've had, there was a confab that was done. Jonathan did a confab. Even before Jonathan, there was a previous confab that was done. And I see the direction of a youth confab, but exactly to what objective? What are we trying to achieve with the youth confab? Okay, to hear their views. So, I mean, are we going to ensure, I know we have the law that gives a certain percentage of youth participation in politics and governance. However, to what end exactly are we trying to involve the young people? How would the modalities, although they said that the Minister of Youth will give us the modalities of that youth confab, but I'm just very curious of what exactly would that look like?
We have a very huge youth population, and if we don't find something to do about it, this whole drive will just die.
And you have to listen to the youth also to know where they come in, and even if it means empowering them with this new credit guarantee now that wants to come up, and so you need to know.
But I'd like Nima to finish that thought of the fact that we have quite a bit
huge youth population, and to change anything is to focus on that population and the next generation coming after them. It's important that if we must change this psychology, it has to be with them. Look at the what's it called, netizens. The people on Twitter tweeting, they are the ones who find money to sub, they call it sub, and do this, and they continue to push the narrative of it can't work. If you find 2-3 people amongst them who are in this confab, the youth confab, and they are of the privilege, every other person will come and say, it's because their father is so and so. So if you must do it, capture that everybody, find a way to bring everybody, and let it be a confab of not the elites, not the privilege. Let it be the confab of the real youth who needs to change mindset. There's an institution, the Jakonde Academy in Lagos, that is doing something like that. I've seen a few of their graduates, and there are people that I know they don't have those kind of connections, and it's important.
For me to, when I saw the youth confab, I said, yes, we've had many conversations like this, and as much as I understand some of the misgivings, your concerns that you have, which is, we've seen this before, we've heard this before, but then this is a New Year's message. It wasn't really sitting down to give a breakdown. So I'm hoping that in the course of the year, we'll see how this is broken down. He's made a few promises, and I've seen that this particular administration finds way of following through with it. So I'm a bit confident on that's the same spirit in which we'll see how this youth confab and the national orientation message will be done. But I also, for me, that he mentioned particularly the youth confab made me think, this administration is paying attention to what is important. We've talked about how I've seen some administration almost act as if the youth don't exist. And you mentioned the percentage of Nigerians that are young in our country. Remember this Badenoch story when someone was criticizing her, a British person as well, was saying that she should be careful, like some of the things that she says about the fast-growing economy in Nigeria with one of the youngest population. They understand the power of the youth abroad. you know, everyone else understands the power of the youth in different countries. It's something that they are worried about in countries like Japan. That's a dying economy because they don't have such a large youth population.
Their doors to our young people.
But we have such, it's a huge resource. And I'm happy that the president understands, this administration understands that we need to bring them to the table. And I love that point that you made, because it was my biggest point too, which is not the usual. It's not this person's son, this person's daughter, this person's uncle's niece. Or just bring them. You know where we are. The Nigerians are cut across. Nigerian youths are everywhere. Bring them, those who know exactly what it feels to be Nigerian youth in Nigeria, going through the daily rigors of living in Nigeria, and bring them to conversations like this, and we'll see, you know, a great.
I'm really hopeful.
And we should also encourage the Nigerian youth to participate. It's one thing to say, you're not going to go to people's houses to draw them out. So Nigerian youth should also be encouraged now that they've given you a platform to work with. Volunteer, be part of change. You have to be present to say what's happening in your community, so we really know and hear you.
Let me come to Nima, because I know Nima, let me take you up a bit on this, because I know when the president was flying around the world, you're like, oh, don't leave all this on Brazil. Why are you going to come meet there for all this money? Leave us within us. Let us find out our solution within. But he's also telling us that a lot of these trips have yielded results, because many companies have invested, many companies abroad have invested money, and many have even made returns. I mean, I read it in the papers today. Some have made trillions and trillions of naira of returns. So what are your thoughts? Do you think that we should still continue these FDIs, or we should just stay close our borders?
So even though, I'd rather that, you know, we manage our resources locally by ourselves. When I was trending with the 30 BJ people, is because, you know, somebody had said, do not come here. I know how important it is for investments to come in. It will create employment. This our youth population that we're talking about are largely unemployed, and I know how important it is. I see the struggles of Nigeria. In my rice farm, I see how Nigerians struggle daily. You know, I see what people go through. So I cannot even underestimate that. I like the fact that the president was talking about, you know, how this as our stock exchange is doing. He also talked about, I'm trying to get the figures. He said our stock market has recorded growth. It's generated trillions of naira in wealth. And there's a surge in foreign investments. I like that. You know, it excited me. It meant that, you know, people, not only were people getting employed, people were certainly getting, you know, profits. People were becoming wealthy, and you know, but after that, I don't answer you as I can. Let me talk on the cost of food. He acknowledged, because that was one general problem. Everybody, even when we see the facts, we see that our FDI is increasing. We see that our foreign reserves has gone up. We've seen that our naira became strengthened. And just to ask you, has it changed the cost of bread? Tomato is still cost and all of that. Even this price of bag of rice is still 100 and something thousand. You know, I was at a resort during the Christmas break, and we were supposed to go to a beach in Cotonou. The price of the trip remained the same in Cotonou currency. But because of our dollar-naira exchange, it was about 80,000 naira for just one day trip per person. Over there, when I did the maths, I told the children, go and swim in the on our water. You know, but those are the problems that Nigerians face every day. And, you know, I like the president saying he's taking deliberate efforts to change that, saying they're going to boost food production, they're going to promote local manufacturing of essential drugs. This was what somebody criticized me. Some people wrote me an episode saying the companies that have left here, Reckitt Bank, they called all the, you know, all the drug pharmaceutical companies that have left, and saying that's why we're suffering. Do you know what it is to buy inhaler now? Do you know what, you know, and all of that? And I think last year there were some policies geared towards this, but we didn't see results. I hope that now that the president is saying this deliberately, that this is what he wants to work on and is looking at reducing inflation, you know, I hope that we will see the right result, which automatically should just translate to a drop in prices, where people can then afford things that they want, particularly food and drugs. These are basic.
Okay, let me go on a very short break. When we come back, we conclude this conversation, but I'd really like you guys, ladies, to think about what advice would you give Mr. President if he was listening to you this morning as regards how to engage Nigerians going forward? Now, he has given us his speech, but how would we as Nigerians like the president to engage us going forward in 2025? Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.